10 essential things you need to know about ordering almost any RV awning fabric. This makes life easier. And also today in Enjoying the RV Life, we're going to talk about the top 8 RV trade-in considerations. And then in the next stop, we're going to visit the amazing Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. And then in RV Envy, we're going to talk about spare door keys. These are a must-have. Hey everybody, this is Eric Stark with the Smart RVer Podcast, delivering the smarts you need to enjoy the freedom of the RV lifestyle without the fear of breaking down. Let's talk everything RV, and today is episode 156. So let's jump into this. Alexis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Doing great.
Yes,
so you ready to take us to Shenandoah and give us a virtual tour, I guess?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. Been ready to take your RV and trade it in?
That's right.
And not get taken to the cleaners?
Exactly. It's important to know not to.
Or not getting taken as badly to the cleaners?
Right, exactly.
Either way you lose, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Oops, that sounded negative. Sorry about that, people.
It did sound negative. That's okay. Right. We'll fix that.
Well, that's my only thing today. I have no other rants to rant about. I didn't bring up my notes with that on there, so I'm just going to have to tear apart trading in your RV.
Okay, let's do it then.
When you get taken on that, you're just like, you've gone to the dealership, you're ready for a trade-in, so you're not going to get the value of what it really worth. So,
right.
So sometimes it's just easier. Get rid of it.
Right.
Anyways, let's just get right into that since I'm already jumping into it anyway. So now, enjoying the RV life, RV trade-in considerations. So Alexis found the top 8 things you want to consider when trading in your RV. So Alexis, what's your favorite one on this list?
What's my favorite one? Wow. Well, that's kind of hard, but I guess, preparation is key would probably be my favorite because that covers a lot of things. You want to assess your RV, make sure it's clean, address any maintenance issues. That's a big thing because if you're going to sell it and get the most out of it, you're going to want to address these obvious things. Maybe not some smaller things, but people are going to want to walk in and see that everything works basically. So if you want the most out of it, do these things first.
Yep, you're right. So, the list is pretty inclusive here and it all makes sense and it ties in with just preparation, really.
Yeah.
But, you have to have an idea what your RV's worth.
Yes.
A real idea, not something you just dreamed up because you think it's worth this.
Right.
So one easy way to do that is going online, going to, one of the RV sales websites and seeing the value of similar RVs.
Yep.
And try to find something as close as you can to yours, the year, the mileage, everything. And you do that in different areas, and that gives you an idea. Now, the value will be based on what it is in your area. Then there's also the Blue Book for RVs. I forget what it's called. You can do that as well. So knowing the value of it and also looking at what you want to get out of it. They're not going to give you what you think it's worth. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So what is it you want to buy? What is it you want to get out of your RV? Do you want to just get rid of it? But knowing what you want is important because you could go to a dealership and they're going to buy your RV from you and you might just kind of cave and, okay, let's just get in. Let's just get rid of this RV and get out of it. No, know what you want to buy first,
do that.
Don't give in, just get rid of your RV. And of course, there's a budget. They're never going to offer you what it's worth. So that might affect your budget for buying a new RV, the money you're going to put down or whatever it might be. I like this one too. This would apply to so many things like cars, RVs, boats, exploring your trade-in options. Go to different places, talk to different people. What's it worth? How are they going to value it? Because it'll be different from place to place. And it's going to depend on what you're looking at too. How much room they have on the item you're buying or the new RV versus the one you're trading in. If you're buying a used RV and they don't have as much profit in it, they're not going to give you as much on the trade-in.
Right.
But if you're buying an RV where they have a lot more profit, they're just going to give you more on the trade-in, but you're going to be paying more for the RV, so there's all these options there. Then you brought out the preparation, and this is an interesting point because I hear it time and time again. Even my friends do this after I tell them not to do this. They buy an RV that needs an awning, the fabric or awning fabric. Funny I said that because I said it wrong. We're going to talk about that later in the show, but an awning fabric, it might need tires. It has some damage to it. It's missing knobs off the stove. And the dealership sells it like, oh, these are all just little things. Don't worry about it. That awning fabric's only $100. You can get them anywhere. Piece of cake. Those knobs, they're $1 a piece. Just go online. You can get them on Amazon, $1 a piece. They tell you all this stuff, but when you're trading in that RV, that awning fabric's going to cost them $1,000 to replace it. That's what, oh no, this is $1,000 to replace that. So we got to take that off. These knobs, you can't get these knobs anymore. So now the person's going to have to buy a new stove. We're going to have to put a new stove in here,
Uh-huh.
So they're going to beat the living daylights out of you on that trade-in. And then when they turn around and sell it, they're only going to do certain things to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to stick it to the person who's buying it.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And it happens all the time. So having that RV in top shape gives them nothing to complain about, and they can't beat you down on the price based on those little things.
Yep.
So make sure that RV's in top condition.
Mm-hmm.
Everything works. If something doesn't work, you might want to consider getting it fixed or replacing it. And here's another one, negotiating wisely. Now, how do you negotiate wisely with criminals? I mean, really. They're not in it to help you. They're in it to take money out of your pocket.
Right.
And you have to pay attention to them when they get up. Everything's assigned when they're underlining numbers on the sheet. We'll give you this much. Mm-hmm. Then they underline it. Well, that's because that's assigned to them. Their boss said, okay, if they're not going to do this first line means you can knock $1,000 off, or add give them $1,000 more on trade-in or whatever. It's all a numbers game, and they're going to play you. And every time that salesman gets up and talks to his manager, they're just coming up with another scheme to take your money.
Yep.
And every bit of writing on that piece of paper they show you, which they love doing, they slap it down in front of you. Mm-hmm. They look at your wife and say, doesn't she like this RV? Don't you really want to do this? And this is what we can do here. And he circles it. The circle means something.
Mm-hmm.
Everything means something. So negotiate wisely. Be ready. Know what you really want to do. Don't get sucked into anything. And then the timing, timing of the year, things like that. And, of course, your lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
Are you changing your RV just because you want to change it? Or is it something you need to do, something you want to do? Or is the change going to be better? Have you really thought it through? Sometimes you're walking on the dealership lot and it looks like it makes sense, but does it really?
Right.
So, Alexis, those are 8 points there that I think I covered instead of you, huh? I kind of got runaway train there.
Hey, that's okay.
You get the morning off then.
All right.
All right. So anyway, just, be careful when you go to trade in your RV. And, these things are available on our website, thesmartrv.com, under RV Envy.
Mm-hmm.
It's your top 8 RV trade-in considerations, and a lot of the stuff you might be familiar with, but take a look at it anyway. It's always a good reminder to see what's cooking out there.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter. It's negotiating with snakes, man. So you're going to be careful.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's real. If you ever bought anything new, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Heck, even the cell phone stores are the same way.
They are. I know. You need this and this and this. Oh, do I?
It's never easy.
Yeah.
I've needed new phones for months, and I've been wanting to do it. I just don't want to do it. Man. It's like, I'd rather use this phone.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's better. Look at that.
If you can't see this, I'm talking on a regular old analog phone from the old days.
It's the iPhone 1.
The iPhone 1. There you go. All right. So that was enough of that. Okay. So now we're going to get into staying on the road. We're going to talk about the 10 essential things you need to know about ordering any RV, almost any RV awning. First time I said RV, then RV awning. It's RV awning, okay? And knowing this is going to make life easier. And we know this from experience because we sell RV awning fabrics every day. Complete awnings, fabrics, patio awning fabrics, slide out awning fabrics. And it's the information, and this applies to so many things on an RV. You know, it's model numbers and understanding what you have. Well, I have this air conditioner, here's the model number. And not having that makes it much harder, because then you're going to go back to the drawing board. You got to get that information, and sometimes you don't want to, and you get a little, well, can you just guess? What's the most common part?
Oh my gosh.
Things like that, you know, and it just doesn't work that way. So now this is not about telling you as the consumer that you're doing things wrong. This is so, and don't take it that way. This is just so you know how to order an RV awning. That's what we're going to talk about today, but you can take this and apply it to everything in an RV, in your house too, your car. It's just, and cars and RVs are not the same. And I've said this before, you can't look up an RV by year, make, and model. And even if you could, it wouldn't mean the part you want is going to be in that breakdown for that year, make, and model.
Exactly.
Because RVs are not like cars. You know, you might start out with a Coleman air conditioner on the RV when it's brand new, but down the road, it might end up with a Dometic on it, or an Atwood, or whatever, a Furrion. So it doesn't really work that way. So we just have to accept that. Pictures, descriptions, measurements are key. Model numbers. So now let's talk about RV awnings. So first off, do you want a patio awning or a slide out awning fabric? Because that's one of the things we get every time someone wants to order a fabric. Well, I need an awning fabric. Or actually, I need an awning.
Yeah.
I need an awning fabric. And, you know, a patio awning fabric is 13 feet long, 18 feet long. Slide out awning fabrics are 13 feet, 18 feet long. Some of them are 27 feet long.
Yep.
So the length doesn't help us determine what awning it is. So we have to ask the question, what do you have? Is it a patio awning or is it a slide out awning? And that question stumps most people because they don't know what a patio awning is.
Yeah.
That's the big awning, the main awning, the awning you sit underneath. It's called a patio awning. And so you have to know that. And it's imperative, because if you order a slide out awning and you're trying a fabric and you're trying to put it on a patio awning, it won't work.
Not at all.
So you're going to go out 48 inches. That's going to suck.
Yep.
Unless that's what you want. So understand the difference. And it's the same with other things, like I said. And then it's the brand. Is it a Carefree, a Solera, or a Dometic? And the standard answer is, I don't know. And that's not really the right answer. And sometimes we can figure out it, or it doesn't matter depending on the awning.
Sure.
If it's an older manual awning, then the brand's not so important. So we don't become real sticklers on that until we get into more questions. Then we might have to, okay, let's go back to the brand. But knowing the brand helps. And you should know what brand awning you have. Even the model helps, because there's different awnings. And I know for most RVers, they look at their RV and they maybe say, oh, I got a Carefree awning. But what model Carefree is it?
Exactly.
You know, Carefree has a ton of different awnings. It's like They come up with a new model every other day. It's not as bad as they used to be.
Right.
You know, they're like U-Haul in the old days. The owners of U-Haul go camping and they see a kayak. Oh, we need to carry kayaks. They go camping the next weekend. Oh, sleeping bags. We need to have sleeping bags. So they start renting all this stuff at U-Haul stores. You know, then they'd sell it off 2 years later because it was a bad move. But Carefree's kind of the same way. But anyway, back to the point here. Understanding what you have. And, you know, this goes back to like what I've talked about, having a book, a ledger, something, keeping track of what's on your RV. And once you record all this information, then you have it. Whether it's in a physical book, you know, on a program or an app on your phone or your computer. We've talked about different apps that record all this information. You just put it in and it's there for you. So ever how you want to do it, but keep track of it. So, you know, okay, we're past the brand, you know, maybe, yeah, you're not sure. And then I need a new awning. So to us, that's a complete awning, but we usually know you mean a fabric. So you have to be specific. Is it an awning or an awning fabric? You know, because you start going down the road of an awning and it's a completely different ballgame. Quote someone $2,000 and they're thinking $400. They're like, oh, you're a ripoff.
Right.
Well, you want a complete awning? No, I just want a fabric. Oh, okay. So it can get a little confusing sometimes too with these questions because the person's not sure. And it makes it harder, and it gets a little frustrating sometimes, and you can feel that, between the us and them, us and you, whatever. And it's just the way it works out, but we're just trying to help. We have to ask questions. And then when you're ordering an awning fabric versus an awning fabric, we don't want to know the size of the fabric. That's not how awning fabrics are sold for patio awning fabrics. Now, slide-out awning fabrics, we want to know the length of the fabric, sometimes called the width. We call it the length. We go length by depth. Other people will go width by length. So, it gets a little confusing, but the long measurement. So on a patio awning, the big awning, the main awning, the awning you sit underneath and enjoy that cocktail and the sunset watching your neighbors be stupid, that awning, we want the center of arm to center of arm measurement. So you take a tape measure and put it on the front arm or the rear arm. We always say the front arm, and just walk to the rear, hold it in the center, and that side to side of the center, not top to bottom. And if it's 17 feet, 1 inch, it's a 17-foot awning. If it's, 16 feet, 11 inches, 17-foot awning. If it's 17 right on the money, it's 17 feet. And generally they're not on the money because they get installed a little crooked, or you hold the tape a little, off a little bit. You're close. That works. Where fabrics are always about a foot shorter. So a 17-foot awning will have a 16-foot, approximately 2 to 4 inch fabric, depending on the brand. But it's just much clearer to go by the awning size, the center of arm to center of arm size. That tells us everything we need to know on the fabric size. And it just makes it easier because, sometimes fabric measurements, this is the wrong fabric on an awning. Someone might call us and say, we have a fabric that's 15 feet, 9 inches. Mm-hmm. And we can order a fabric like that, but there's something wrong with that or different. Maybe the awning was cut down at the fabric or at the factory and they had to cut the fabric down and that's what fit. That's usually not the case. It's usually measuring it wrong, not understanding, or the wrong fabrics on the awning altogether. Because they say, 15 feet, 9 inches, and then we have a measure the center arm to center of arm, and it's actually 17 feet. So that would make it a 17-foot fabric, which is 16 feet, 2 to 4 inches, depending on the brand.
Right.
So it's going to fit much better.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might say it's 15 feet, 6 inches. So we work through that and we get the best fitting fabric and figure it out. And then if you do have an odd size, we can get a fabric for that. We just have to make sure that that is truly what's going to fit and fit best. You don't want to have a bunch of roller tubes sticking out on each end of the awning. 1.5 inches, 2 inches is all you need next to the cap and the fabric, or in between the cap and the fabric. Mm-hmm. And then another thing, too, is the awning depths, for the most part, are almost all the same. They all extend out. We're talking patio awnings here. They all extend out about the same. It's approximately 8 feet. So from the side of the RV to the roller tube, it might be, 94 inches, 95 inches, somewhere in there. That's a given. There's a few, though, especially Solera. They have some that are like 6 feet. Dometic has a couple like that. It's not a common thing. So just be aware of that. I mean, we don't really even dig into that because generally people bring that out, but just be aware of that. And then, so that makes it pretty simple. Most awnings are the same depth, patio awnings. And then the question comes up, does it have a metal cover? They all have metal roller tubes. They're actually aluminum, but they, so sometimes there's some confusion there. The metal cover is important that we know, especially if it's a Dometic fabric, because it requires a special fabric, and the fabric's much more money. So it's imperative that we know that. And even a Carefree, their fabrics are a little more compatible with metal covers. It's not as big of a deal because they only have 1 bead in it. 3 beads total on the fabric, where an A&E would have 5 beads when you have one of their metal covers. So you go from, $300 or $400 to $700, $800, $900, $1,000, depending on the size of the fabric. Huge difference in price. So we have to know that. And most awning fabrics will not work on an awning with a metal cover, even Carefree or Carefree of Colorado. They have 2 different, a LumiGuard and a UniGuard, but they require a special bead as well. But it's not as big of a deal as a Dometic. You could actually make a regular fabric work with theirs, I believe. But a Dometic is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's very important. And it is a game changer. And a lot of people take the metal covers off anymore because the fabrics are so expensive.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they've had a fabric on there for 10 years or something, and they don't want to spend another $800. They don't feel the RV is worth it, or they just don't want to lay out the cash. They don't have it, so they'll take the metal cover off and just go the universal fabric.
Fair enough.
But, it makes sense. It's all budget, and me personally, I don't really care for the metal covers that much because they always come out of alignment and they end up looking crummy over time.
Yeah. So
get
rid of them.
They actually create wear and tear on the fabric as well.
Yeah.
They just keep the sun off it. So it's a trade-off, You could buy a $300 Dometic fabric and install it a new one probably 3 times or more for one Dometic fabric.
Mm.
You're not going to have the RV for 21 to 30 years.
Probably not.
Unless it's sitting out in the back of your yard and collecting or weeds growing around it and growing mold. Okay, so the metal cover, that's a must thing to know, and that would apply to window awnings and slide-out awnings as well. Metal covers are a game changer in a lot of cases. Then is the awning manual or power? That's not a huge thing. It just gives us an idea sometimes because of other questions that are going to come up. It might point to the brand or, okay, if it's manual, more than likely it doesn't have anything else on it. We don't have to worry about a thing. If it's a power awning, usually power awnings are the culprits that have LED lights.
Yep.
Some older manual awnings like Dometics have LED lights on the fabric that slide into the awning rail. That's a workaround there. We can, that's not a huge deal, but it is out there. And then the next question would be, is the fabric acrylic or vinyl? Now, that could depend on a metal cover, too. A lot of Dometics, or most Dometics with metal covers, have acrylic fabric. Acrylic is that canvasy type material. Vinyl is like plastic. That's what your slide-out awnings are quite often made out of, although there are some acrylic slide-out awning fabrics. So those are important things to know because acrylic when it's new, it looks really nice. And a lot of people like that look and they want to keep it all kind of factory or original, if you will. So even on a slide-out awning, if you have like this beige color, well, more likely it's acrylic. It's not going to be vinyl or maroon or blue. And those fabrics have to come from the fabric or the factory. And generally they're Carefree of Colorado. And they're, 3 to 4 times more expensive than a vinyl fabric. So a lot of people just go with vinyl, especially on a slide-out awning.
Right.
Replacing that fabric, if you went from a beige to a white or a black, no one would probably ever know except for you. And if they did know, they probably wouldn't even care.
Probably not.
A lot of this stuff is just about us, how we want it to be, but most consumers or most RVers don't pay attention to anything. Yeah, hardly anything at all, In fact, it gives technicians a little leeway to be kind of sloppy sometimes because people don't really notice. They don't pay attention to it. So now we're getting to a couple more questions here about LED light. And in the last few years, LED lights have become much more popular on the awning itself, built into the awning. So now the question would be, are the LED lights on the fabric or the roller tube? Now, the roller tube is pretty simple. It's out on the roller tube, the 3-inch round tube that the fabric rolls up on. If they're in there, they're built into the tube. That makes it simple. Now, if they're in the fabric, Solera has a fabric that has a bead that's welded into it that's about 3 inches away from the side of the RV, and they have a light track that slides on there with LED lights. So that's a little bit different than a Dometic with their LED lights on their fabric, because that is definitely a game changer. The freight for those, because that LED light system, it just dawned on me. I was talking to them the other day. No, that was Solera. Forget it. No. So Dometic's LED light system, when it's on the fabric, it's a plastic strip that's on the awning rail. They use a smaller bead for the awning rail bead, and then they put the plastic strip on there so it fits in the awning rail. And they won't coil that strip. It's not something they can, or they say they can't coil it and ship it in a box, even if it's a larger box. Like that's what Solera does.
Oh.
So it has to go on the fabric. So in other words, if your fabric's 17 feet long, that light strip will be 17 feet long. And it has to go on a tube 17 feet long. So it has to go on a truck. So it can't go on UPS.
Yep.
So that brings the freight to, $150, $200, depending on where you live, those types of things. We pretty much just quote $100, $200 on it because it's always more than what they tell us anyways. So it always gets up there. So it changes the price. So a lot of people now are getting awnings with LED lights on the fabric, but when it's time to replace the fabric, they're not putting on the new fabric with LED lights. They're buying an aftermarket light setup, or they just don't even care. It's like, we don't need it anyways. We got a porch light out there. We're never out there.
Right.
So Dometic has kind of shot themselves in the foot. And imagine that. Wonder how many times you could shoot yourself in the foot and still be able to walk. Because Dometic seems to be able to keep doing this, and they keep getting up and walking.
Yeah.
Because it's a boneheaded move to make a fabric like this where you have to send it in a tube that's 17, 18, 21 feet long or whatever. It's just ridiculous. And they don't see that.
Yeah.
Or they don't care. So that's the way it is. It's not the way it is. That fabric, those things will roll up into a much smaller box. It'd still be expensive to ship, but it'd be a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. And it could go UPS. But I don't work at Dometic. It's a good thing. People will be fired. What's that show? Donald Trump, you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So The Apprentice or something like that?
Something. Yeah, I think so.
With a madman with orange hair. All right. So LED lights are important. Both brands have LED lights on the roller tube and on the fabric. It depends on the option. So the minute we get into LED lights, if we can't determine the brand, then we want a picture of the label on the roller tube, because that has the model number, serial number. Quite often it's just easier to go with that, especially Carefree ones. Carefree fabrics their whole system is very complex. We still have not figured out a way to look stuff up on their website and be able to just identify fabrics and order them and give them a number, because they make something for a manufacturer. Well, when it goes to aftermarket, the number changes. And just when you think you got it kind of figured out, you don't. So we always have to call them, and that label is critical. Like anything on the RV, if you take a picture of all the labels, man, you got it covered. And awnings have a label on the roller tube, and they have a label on the arm. The arms do not come with roller tubes on RV awnings. When you buy a new awning, a complete awning, the roller tube is one part number and the arms are another part number. So if you need arms for your awning, you have to get the number off the arms, or some measurements, pictures, and the label, depending. And this isn't 100%, but LED lights are more common on power awnings than they are in manual awnings. I said that earlier. So these things here are going to help you order fabrics. And it's kind of the same deal with the slide-out awning fabric, the same deal with the window awning fabric. The brand, the measurements, like most window awning fabrics, we just go by measurements of the fabric because it's so much easier. We try to just keep it easy because we know it's a pain getting all this stuff, and most RVers aren't ready when they make the phone call. So we try to do this in one phone call, but if we don't feel that we're going to do it right, then we need more information. And a stove, it doesn't matter. A water pump, everything has a number. There's something that identifies it, and that's what we need. And the companies we deal with, that's what they really want. We can't just call Dometic and order a fabric. Like, we want a fabric that's, about 13 feet long. It's kind of blue. It goes with, 2022 Fusion RV. It just doesn't work that way, and like Lippert, they are number driven. Without a number, man, I don't even want to talk to you. Wow. So this is just to help you. So when you call up, you call us. In fact, test us out. Order your awning fabrics from us and put us to the test.
There you go.
You can train us. No. So anyways, take that information, do with it what you will. Hopefully you'll use it and share it with others. If your buddy's thinking about getting an awning fabric or something for his RV, explain to them, what they need to do to make that process easier. Especially when you call stores like, Camping World, someplace like that, where they have a high turnover of employees and they don't always get it. They don't always have the greatest reputation for figuring things out. Yeah, I remember one time we had a store and we were 3 miles from a Camping World, and people were in that store every day saying Camping World doesn't carry it. And you listen to the person describe it, and the description's wrong. You ask a couple questions, and you just need a 3-inch waste valve. Yeah. Camping World had them, but they didn't describe it right, and the employees there can't ask enough questions to figure it out.
Yep.
We're not like that. We're going to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
So, so that's where the more information you have, because I know you're not going to buy everything from us, but the more information you have. So anyways, go to our website go to our website, the smartrver.com. We have all of our articles there, everything we talk about, other than this staying on the road. This one, we have the podcast there, of course. And then we also take these staying on the roads and turn them into videos. Now, I think we're on episode 152 on the videos. So we're behind a tad bit. A lot of bit. So I'll have to get on that. Alexis is looking at me, you're just doing nothing all day long. And so anyway, now that's going to bring us to the next stop. Let's get moving on here, and let's go to Shenandoah National Park. So Alexis, I'm going to let you take this one so I don't ramble on forever. I spent way too much time talking about awning fabrics.
All right. What state is this in again?
Virginia.
Okay, good.
Oh, boy.
There we go. Well, I don't have it right in front of me. Shenandoah, here we go. All right. This is a pretty cool place. It's in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains, which we've talked about the Blue Ridge Mountains before and how beautiful it is, but this is a little different right into the park. There's just, the views are beautiful. There's a lot of opportunity to do driving, which is nice for people who are, impaired with mobility, or you can do hikes, you can take photographs. There's like a really nice falls there. Lots of camping options, which I thought was nice. Lots of RV parks, or just like normal camping spots. A lot of history and cultural sites that you can go visit. A lot of things like that, like settlers' homes, cemeteries that offered kind of a glimpse into people who were here in the United States before us a long, long time ago. It's just a cool place to go. Lots of history, lots of nature. So if that's really what you're looking for, then this would be something to research for your next vacation.
Yeah, it sounds like a good place. Virginia sounds interesting. I'd like to go there. I'd like to go to the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yes, me too.
And, I was thinking as you're going through this, a lot of what you described sounds like a lot of places.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's always different.
Yes.
It's like even here in Montana, you can go to a ghost town, let's say in Bannock. Then you can go to one in Garnett.
Totally different.
Mm-hmm. Different surroundings, different people live there.
Yeah.
It's like two different worlds at the same time. So
very cool.
Don't think because you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Not
like a swap meet, It's totally different.
Yep.
So it's just one more thing to put on your list. And we have this on the smartrver.com under the next stop. The amazing Shenandoah National Park is the article there. So check that out. And again, it just gets you thinking about where you can go and what you can do. Sometimes just breaking out a map and looking at it, the United States, and kind of zero in on a state maybe, or an area, then zone in from there, helps you find new places. Okay, so now this is going to take us to RV Envy. And this one is about spare door keys. That sounds pretty boring, right? Well, it is. But the moment you're locked out of your RV and you can't get in, it's anything but boring.
Exactly.
Then all the stupidity comes out. You start thinking, gosh, should I break the window? Does someone have a chainsaw so I can cut a hole in the side? Maybe if I pry this door open, and all those things cost a lot of money. A new door is, $1,000. I mean, that's probably a little high, but, they're expensive. And then you got to get a new door, and it's just not going to be the same, all that kind of stuff. It might be better, but you're used to old and worn out, so you might not like it. So always keep a spare key someplace on the RV where you're going to remember it. I've got one on my RV now. I have a keyless entry. And we went camping last weekend, and we couldn't think of the combination for the life of us.
No.
But that was just weird. Total, just it's gone, man. But I did have a key, so I wasn't really worried about it. Because before I leave, I know there's a spare key on the trailer, but I also make sure I have the other keys in my truck, just in case things happen, Yep. Someone might find my spare key and steal it. It's not really hidden that well.
Where is it?
It's LP tanks.
Nice.
If you hide it too good, you'll never find it.
Good to know.
And then you can check that it's there from time to time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go crazy, like really getting clever and hiding it, because you won't find it again.
Right, exactly.
You know, you'll just hide it and you'll turn around and walk away. You're not saying when you leave a room and you shut the door, you forget everything about it.
Yeah.
We all do it. You walk out of the kitchen, you're going to go to the living room, you're going to say something or do something. You're like, what was I going to do? Well, you left that room. All your business in that room is done and gone.
Yep, exactly.
So it's going to be the same with the spare key.
Yep.
So don't hide it too good, but just make sure you have one.
Yeah.
You know, even if you kept it in your tow vehicle, if you have a trailer, that'd be fine. You know, if it's a motorhome, put it someplace where you can find it, you know? Yep. So anyways, just have that spare key because, you know, breaking locks out gets time consuming. Damaging doors is ridiculous. Calling a locksmith, let's not even go down that road. You know, drilling out the cylinders in the lock. I mean, there's enough problems in life as there is anyways, so let's just not create another one.
Yep.
Be the smart RVer, have a spare key.
There you go.
Okay, so now, as a reminder, go to our YouTube channel, The Smart RVer. It's on YouTube, so if you go to youtube.com/The Smart RVer, just search The Smart RVer, you're going to find all of our good videos. And unfortunately, there's a lot of junk on YouTube, but go to our stuff. It's all good. Like and subscribe as well. In fact, like and subscribe everything we do and share it with all your friends. Let everybody know what we're doing here. All right, so that's going to bring us to the end of the show today. It's been a great show. We've covered a lot of ground. We definitely went longer than what we normally do, but that's all right. It's well worth it when you get good information, right? All right, so let's just bring this puppy to an end now. This is Eric Stark with the Smart RVer Podcast. It's been great hanging out with everybody today. If I don't see you on the road, let's connect at thesmartrver.com.